Hi, this is Cosmic Charles, and I've been working on this Proliferate Storm deck ever since I saw Kalikaiz's video about it about a week and a half ago. I think it was his second video. I'll link his channel in the description. But yeah, ever since I saw it, I've just been I guess you could say like infected. Basically, it's been so much fun just seeing how all these things work. I love doing counters and interactions. So if you're a fan of just like going off and storming, it's a really fun deck. And here we have my list. It's a little different than other lists. I'm not running black. Infectious Inquiry is very good. It really helps with your card draw density and your poison density. But the problem is that you're really trying to be almost like a mono blue deck. At least that's what I'm trying to do with it. And splashing black in addition to splashing green is just very hard. So I figured Manamorphose would be nice to help even that out. So these are the two of the most important depletion lands. Hierarchy Woodlot and Sapphires Scary. They both do the same thing, but just in different colors. Scary adds 2 blue, and Hickory Woodlot adds 2 green. The only problem is they enter the battlefield tapped, and you can only use them twice. But if you proliferate them, you can use them indefinitely, which is usually how this goes on. Now a lot of people run the black one, and a lot of people run the black one, but I decided to try and go with Sandstone Needle instead of Peat Bog. So basically what these third colors do is they're most of the time going to be generic mana for ramping, like something similar to what you would see in an Everflowing Chalice. Everflowing Chalice can just add immense amounts of mana and really help you go off. It's an important card. And the artifacts and the depletion lands are what form the base of your mana. But because of how awkward it is with all these off colors, you're kind of like a 3-color deck because you need to run these depletion lands. So you have these filtering cards. Pentad Prism is a filtering card that everyone runs. It's the best out of the 2 that I have because you can continually use it. One thing that's nice about running 3 colors is that it's very easy to get Sunburst off with this deck. And you can do it at instant speed. It's just a great card with Proliferate. I believe they used to run it in Adnaz, I think in Modern. But it wasn't enough. I wanted more filtering, so I decided to try out Manamorphose. And with 10 lands I can cast it in the main deck, it's very reliable. And and it draws a card, which is important. Because at the end of the day, you are trying to cycle through your deck and poison out to infect them. And here we have Thirsting Roots. And this card is a triple threat. It's a ritual. When you have enough enough rocks out, it can easily add a lot of mana. And the fact that it's 1 green gets around like Pyroblast, gets around a few sorcery, gets around a spell. But yeah, it gets around the red mana, like the red counter, and you typically don't want to use it for the filtering effect, which is where you'd get one of your basic lands. You usually want to proliferate with it and ramp. Proliferation is the key to the deck, and it's important to have cheap and easy proliferators. It really helps smooth things out, which is why you run 4 of these, 4 and 4, like Augury and Plan. These are very good. They all proliferate. They cost 2. Augury is especially good. It's nearly an anticipate, and Contentious Plan just cycles. But they're still very good, and they can also be like little mini rituals if you have enough artifacts out. If you have 2 prisms out, they're free, and if you have the Everflowing Chalice out, they're free for a while until you run out of color. But one trick you can do with Chalice is you can tap it and cast another Chalice, which is like untapping it, and that's a pretty nice thing to do. And that's typically how you go off with these 2 cards. That's the cheap Proliferate suite, and here's the expensive suite. Now, it's very important to draw cards in this deck because of how many lands you run. Not lands, mana sources. You run 26 mana sources, so you're pretty susceptible to flooding. And all told, with the 15 Proliferate cards and the Manamorphose and all the other like incidental draw that I have 23 cards in deck that draw. So these bigger draw cards really help smooth things out and get you through that these long stretches where you just have mana source after mana source, or like, you know, or just cards that don't draw when you're just trying to like finish out the game quickly and easily. Behold the Multiverse is there because the Scry 2 in the situation is quite valuable, and the Pay 2 generic is great with, you know, the depletion lands that aren't blue or like are the color that you don't need at the time. It's pretty easy to foretell it, and then that helps that now costs 2. And the compulsive research is there just as a 2 of, because that discard a land thing is not always free, you know. So Behold's been working out pretty well. I don't think I'd go over 1 copy of Behold though. And this is how you stay alive with Moment's Peace and Weather the Storm. You run 4 copies of Moment's Peace, 4 copies of Weather, 1 copy of Peace in the main, and 2 in the sideboard. And they're enough against most decks to keep you alive. One thing about building a deck this way, though, is that you do need to have a way of boarding these cards out against other matchups. So it takes a little bit of planning. And here we have the final 2 cards from the main deck, I think. And then the main card here, Merchant Scroll and Prologue to Phyresis. So I don't run Infectious Inquiry. My only way to infect is Prologue to Phyresis. And the problem is you need to, running 4 cards to just cause infect, or just to give poison isn't enough. You need to do it early. Because like I said, you're going to get those long stretches of land. So it's important to, you know, what's that phrase? Like, make hay while the sun shines, or something like that. So, important to get it early. Merchant Scroll helps a lot with that. Yeah, it costs 2 more, but whatever. Like, you run the depletion lands. Also good for Storm for Weather. Like, I found it to be very nice, and it really helps with the consistency, because not only does it get like a prologue, it can get an augury if I need a card to proliferate, or it can get the Behold if I haven't drawn it yet. And that can, if I want to like scry and dig deeper. So I've been really enjoying Merchant Scroll. One thing you should do with it is keep it in your hand, because it does have one pretty big weakness, and that is it reduces the density in your deck. So you don't want to be aggressively casting Merchant Scroll, unless you're getting Prologue, or unless you need to proliferate. You kind of want to hold it and only use it when you've run out of gas. But another thing that Merchant Scroll is very good with is the sideboard. You can really, this sideboard was designed for a slightly different build of this deck, with Lotus Petals, but it works pretty well with this one too. I might make some changes. The reason why I have so many 2-drops and 1-drops and nothing really over that is because of the nature of the deck. It's like a storm type of, it's not storm, but it's a very tight deck, very hard to work around, so you can only have like, you couldn't board in like, let's say like 4 Pyroblasts or something, because you need to have room for, you know, like 2 Dispel for something else. Like, I won't get into it here, but essentially, against a deck where you'd want Pyroblast, like a Pyroblast, let's say Blue Fairies, so I'll just give you a quick example. You'd want 2 Pyroblast, yes. You could even go like 4 Pyroblasts and a Scatter Shot. But I find just cutting 2 of the Pyroblast or 2 Dispel gives you more flexibility against things like Affinity or other things like that. So splitting the cards like that really help, and it also helps with the fact that there are some times in some matchups you're not sure what to board in, because someone has like a different style of deck. There's always those wild cards out there. And it helps to have a nice variety. So I've been really enjoying this board, especially Inside Out against walls and fans. That's been a lot of fun. And you can Merchant Scroll for Dispel, and Inside Out, and Hydroblast. So that's been pretty sweet. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun with the deck, and I've done a little play-by-play of a pre-recorded game from my most recent leagues.
Wow!
and I thought I would show you just a one game to give you an idea of how the deck works. This is against one of the matches from my most recent league against Affinity. It's a pretty popular deck right now, and it's pretty grindy too. So I thought it might give you a nice idea of how the deck works here. So I won the dice roll. That's nice. And let's see what my hand's like. So I play the it has a lot of land, which might make you think that like I'm going to be flooded. But it does have the Behold the Multiverse. I can cast a Sandstone to foretell it pretty easily. Weather the Storm can be pretty important, and to run 26 land. So like if you're trying to play around not being flooded by mulliganing, you're going to be mulliganing a lot, and you do need your land. So I like how this is progressing right now. Hopefully I don't draw more. All right, so let's see what I do here. Probably just, foretell, and there we go. Scary. Looks like we're gearing up for pretty nice. Our opponent plays an Ichor Wellspring, and I draw the Prologue to Phyresis. Now this is that was a very good draw. So I would like to cast it here and infect him. It's important to infect early. But I'm worried about him having Metallic Rebuke in this situation. Because if I do that, then both of these lands will just have one counter on it. And let's say he counters my Contentious Plan. I have now lost the game. So you have to look out for those situations while they happen. For both myself and the opponent, actually. They should try and count and be aware of this. I mean, it's a new deck. Who's going to be familiar with it? But anyway, so here I should just pass the turn and wait and see if he has access to blue. And play carefully. My opponent's turn. Let's see what he does. Looks like it is in fact going to be a deadly dispute. But can he do that and Metallic Rebuke? Oh wait. Let's see. Oh, Frogmite. So what he's doing here, he's going to try and aggro me out. Which was what you should do, unless maybe you do have the counter magic. But I'd be tempted not to, like even if, because yeah. Anyway, I prologued him on his end step there, because I saw no blue mana open, and those are the two Frogmites. And now it's my turn, and let's see what I do here. Now you might be thinking, oh, not here. Sorry. There we go. Come on. Yeah, that's a very good draw. He's poison. That's 2 more poison counters, and we'll keep the train going. So hopefully I can avoid being flooded for a little bit with this, Augury Contentious Plan. Pretty good pit with Augury. 3 things that don't draw cards, and 1 thing that I wanted, this Prism, so I can just keep ramping and having more and more mana. Alright, so I take the Prism, I proliferate so I can tap these other lands. And there we go. And here comes the Prism. And this looks like I'm doing the Weather the Storm. Yeah, Manamorphose. See, Prism is actually similar to Manamorphose in its mana commitment. Because once you proliferate, it's free, so it's great with Weather the Storm. And yeah, Contentious Plan again, proliferate. Costs 1 effectively because of Prism. So that's good. And I'm not going to cast the Behold here, because that would mean I have 0 counters on my Prism. Maybe I could get away with it because I have a lot of tap lands, but I don't think it's worth the free life. So I just finish off there and Weather the Storm. That's going to negate my opponent's attack steps for a little while at least. Alright, here you might be thinking casting this on your upkeep to filter your draw step, but you draw 2 afterwards, so it doesn't actually do anything. I love doing it though. But I realized recently that doesn't make any sense. So I'm not going to, so I'll stop doing that. I'm not going to do that anymore. And then, yeah, another prologue, great. This is another cantrip. Now here, I should put the Manamorphose at the bottom. I've cast the Behold. Because I run Merchant Scroll, and I would like to shuffle that back in. Because all it does is dig me 1 card deeper right now. I don't need the more mana. I don't need the storm count, and that would essentially just be being like, oh, just scry 1 card. So I'd be losing value by keeping this Manamorphose. Hopefully, I did not keep it. I didn't, but I got another Phyresis, which is important because it adds a poison card. So that's why that one stays on top. Oh, great! So I have 3 cantrips here. Hopefully, I can hit a run I won't be able to kill him this turn, though, because I only have the one artifact. But I can probably poison him at least 4 times. Let's see. So there's the contentious plan, effectively costing 1 because of the prism. Another one again, another one that just costs 1 because of the prism. Up to 4 counters on the prism after this. And yeah, that's pretty good. Merchant Scroll I like to keep in hand, because I don't want to reduce that density like I keep talking about, that like card draw proliferation density. I'm going to hold it. Just keep track of how many you have left in your library so you don't accidentally dead a card in your hand. I'll leave the 3 counters on the prism instead of casting out the Phyresis. I don't know if that was right or not. Maybe I should have just cast it out. Who knows? Maybe I'm holding it for additional weather. Sometimes you should do that. Just hold cantrips back. Alright, let's see what I have here. Weather the Storm. Okay, so that's good. And that's another good thing about Merchant Scroll as well. It works pretty well with Weather the Storm when you have a lot of mana, because it's just like an additional spell. So I'm probably going to do a small weather here. I doubt I draw very much. It looks like I'm going to do the meat of it with the flood. Yeah, there we go. So I can shuffle, which puts all that stuff from Augury back in. But, you know, that's alright. Like, and I also like shuffling because what if there was good stuff with Augury, you know? Like, sometimes that can happen. You want to shuffle it up. So I get myself an Augury. This should put him to 8. And if I draw another... Well, Thirsting Roots puts him to 9. It doesn't replace itself. But it can definitely get there. So it looks like I'm going to be 1 away with 15 more life. So, and he'll be at 1 in fact counter away, and I don't think he has any counter magic in his main deck, hopefully. So hopefully we can get there. Alright, 32. I don't think he can kill me from that. Let's see what I draw. 22. It's getting dicey. Is like a lot of damage in the backstep. Alright, Everflowing Chalice. So I might be dead next turn, but that's pretty nice. Art-wise, this is a lot of flood right here. But 26 lands, yeah, it's one of the reasons why you need to draw big, why you need to run big draw and things like that. Not lands. Mana sources. I call Everflowing Chalice a land a lot. And the, oh, yeah, Compulsive Research. Pretty good draw. Let's see if we can finish him with it. And of note, even though I called Everflowing Chalice a land, it is not a land. So you cannot discard it to Compulsive Research. But I do have enough lands here just to cast it into another Compulsive, alright? And there, the Vivid Surgeon's Insight should finish the job off. Plenty of mana to pay for his Metallic Rebukes. Yeah, so that was game 1 that was game 1. Just one game to just give you an idea of how the deck works. I felt like that was pretty, you know, exemplary, or not exemplary, but a pretty good example. Like, not too good, not too bad, like middle of the road. Yeah, so that's Temur Proliferate Storm. Thanks for watching, and this is Cosmic Charles, and have a good one.